Previously on the last episode of Solar Disruption Theory.
Yeah, if the company's not healthy, then the sales reps don't have a place to sell.
At the end of that summer, you and I had an office, and we went out and we did a little bit over 2,000 installed alarm accounts, and then came back expecting this big back-end check, and the company looked at us and said, "We don't have the money to pay you.
We can't pay you." But like our first summer, you called me and you're like, "Hey, I think we need to switch to solar." And I was like, "Bro, we just got this thing going. Like, what are you talking about? What?" It was the best decision we ever made. I'm glad I listened to you, but I was like, "What the heck, Ty?"
Brett was cool enough to say, "Hey, we will go all in on you. We'll go all in on Texas." I don't know why he saw that in me, but he thought that I could be the guy that would help, Freedom take off in Texas. And we did. We exploded in Texas.
Yeah, but I tell people, like, Tyler Jackson is the father of solar in Texas. Like, you put solar on the map.
You need to have a leader that has a vision, that knows where they're going. They have a singular focus. I don't think there's ever been a solar sales company in the history of solar that has grown at the rate that Solar Pros has. Ordinary people can accomplish extraordinary things.
You've had some personal setbacks that I think people need to hear about.
This is the Solar Disruption Theory.
I want to go back in time on the non-business, on the personal side, and talk a little bit about something that was happening during all of these, chaotic business ups and downs. You've had some personal setbacks that I think people need to hear about. So in 2012, the same year we started our alarm business, you got diagnosed with testicular cancer. I remember when you called me. I remember where I was. I was driving the middle of nowhere in Arkansas, driving a 15-passenger van, and you called me and you're like, "Hey, I've got cancer." And that was the summer, middle of the summer. And that was the year we started our business. Looking back, that was pretty risky.
Yeah.
But walk me through on the non-work side. Walk me through what that was like for Tyler Jackson and your family.
I think the reason why I went to go get checked was, first I was trying to get life insurance. And I was like, and I felt a lump and I was like, man, I might need to go get this checked out before I apply for life insurance just to see. Went in to go see a doctor, and he was like, "Hey, we won't know 100% of a surety until we get kind of some blood work back. But I've been doing this long enough. I'm scheduling an operation for tomorrow.
Yeah.
For you to go get this cancer removed." Luckily the type of cancer I had was one of the most treatable cancers. But it was also one of the, the fastest spreading cancers. And so he was like, "Hey, we don't have any time to wait. Like, we got to get in tomorrow. And we'll send off for the blood work. It'll just confirm what we already know." And so I think that's when I called you, and said, "Hey, it's, there's going to be some changes."
Yeah.
A little bit. But for me, it was, shortly after that, we had surgery, and then, I was hoping that everything would be taken care of at that point, but the blood work came back that it was still in my, my system. It had traveled to some of the lymph nodes, and I needed to do a few rounds of chemotherapy.
Yeah. And radiation.
No, just chemo.
But you lost your hair.
That was from chemo.
I thought radiation got rid of your hair.
No, it was chemo, but it's all good. But yeah, so for me, I went through a few rounds of chemo. I remember you and I were meeting at the Huntsman Cancer Center.
Yep.
And coming up with some of our business plans and things like that.
I'm sitting there while you've got like all the stuff plugged up to you, and we're coming up with a business plan.
Yeah, and I remember there was Vivint guys that were trying to recruit us to maybe go do something else, and that's kind of where the decision was made. Like, hey, we're going to go all in on this business plan in the middle of chemotherapy. Some of that is a testament of how much trust I had in you. I was like, "Chad, we just need to decide this," and I'm all in. But yeah, for me, I sat down with a doctor, and he was like, "Hey, chemo, a lot of it will be determined by your optimism and the way that you go into this, into into this treatment, if your attitude, if you show up, happy, you show up with a smile on your face, your energy, we've seen it time and time again, where people come out of this on top, or people come out of this, better, for just from their optimism. And that was a huge lesson for me. I remember he told me, you're probably not going to want to eat anything. So if you have any urges to eat anything at all, eat it. And you and I always joke about it, because I think I was the only person that gained weight while going through chemo. I took it serious.
It might be the thing that you're the most proud of. You can't talk about the story without talking about how you gained weight through chemo.
It's because the picture will pop up, and it's like, who is that guy? No hair. He looks like he put on 30 pounds. But yeah, I was like, man, ice cream sandwiches.
Let's go.
I'm following doctor's orders. Let's go. But yeah, I remember. Just those times I had a great support system. I had friends coming in daily to come visit me. The most amazing wife, unbelievable parents that went through that with me. I had you as one of my best friends to come in and visit me, and not just talk about work all the time, but joke around and goof around. I remember you were there the day that I cut off all my hair,
Yeah.
And so, or at least we talked on the phone or something about that, about me cutting off my hair. But I remember I went through a lot of that with people that were closest to me. But I think that was one of the, such a lesson to me of what can be accomplished if you just have an optimistic outlook going into to whatever trial it is that you're going to face.
That was my experience. Watching you that whole time, I was just like, it doesn't faze him. Like he's still happy. He's still the same goofball. Like what is going on? Like you always were like the happiest dude I ever met. And then during chemo, nothing changed. And that was like it was like weird to me, because I'm over here like, man, I would be impossible to be around right now. And nothing changed. And you just went about your day. And so fast forward 4 years, 2016, we are trying to keep our little solar company alive. We shrunk our business because strategically we determined, I ran some numbers and realized we would personally make more money with less reps and with zero overhead. And so we pivoted this model, and, we're trying to like run that, and you get a call from your wife. We're out knocking. Your daughter had like some crazy seizures, right? And you guys start doing some research, and then you flew back. And I remember you texted me and said, when you landed, your wife had already knew, and you found out when you landed. I saw the text. I remember where I was. Your daughter Sloan got diagnosed with tuberous sclerosis.
Yeah, and we were like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
right.
I've never heard of tuberous sclerosis. What is that? Yeah, and it was, I'll never forget when I got the call either. It was life-changing for us. But Sloan was our miracle daughter. She was, the downside to chemo for me was it killed my ability to be able to have kids anymore. Like the doctor came and told us and said, hey, unfortunately, the possibility of you all having, kids in the future, it's not going to be possible anymore. And so, luckily for us, we had went through the in vitro process, and we'd saved a couple, embryos. And so we decided that through all these ups and downs of us going through our solar journey, and this is why I have such a affinity towards solars. I still remember the customer that we sold up in Hesperia, California, that I remember I asked her, I said, hey, Chad, can a lot of these commissions that we've been getting, we've been donating to kind of make sure we're paying out these sales reps and these sales guys, and to keep this model going to some of the overhead and the apartments and things like that. We've been donating a lot of our sales to it. And I said, I want to use this to kind of help pay for in vitro. This 20 kilowatt plus system up in California that was able to pay, those costs for in vitro. And through that, we got pregnant with our daughter Sloan, and it felt like that she was our miracle. Like we were told we weren't going to be able to have any more kids, and here we go with Sloan, our perfect little embryo. And about 6 months into it, I was out there going through the grind up in the high desert, and Rachel called me and said, "Hey, I don't know what's going on with Sloan, but it looks like she's kind of seizing. Something's happening." And I'm not sure what it is. And I remember making that drive down from the high desert down to, the Inland Empire, and how long that felt, and trying to research flights and see what I could do to get back home as quickly as possible. My wife was going to try and put her in an ambulance to get out to the hospital. And at the time, Rachel was, just like when you see something happen, and she was just Googling everything,
right?
Seizures. And one of the conditions with tuberous sclerosis is these kids get white spots on their, different pigmentation changes on their body. And she just Googled seizures and white spots, and that's where tuberous sclerosis popped up. And from that moment, that was, I remember feeling so helpless, because I was flying back from Ontario, had a layover in Dallas, and then was trying to get back to Houston. And by the time I got into Dallas, that's when Sloan was diagnosed. And so I didn't even make it all the way to Houston by the time they'd kind of found out what it was that she had. And for us, it was life-changing. That was when I was like, hey, I need to be here. I need to be in Texas. I need to be around family. This dealership that we have, we probably need to set it aside for a little bit, and so that I can try and not travel so much, to be around family. But it was, and we've had a lot of ups and downs, but man, that girl is every single day. She's the reason why I push so hard. And she's one of the reasons why I'm so appreciative of Brett. I'm so appreciative of freedom. I'm so appreciative of Sunder. So appreciative of the time that I've had with the pros. She has medicines that she has to take round the clock for her seizures. She has therapies that we have therapists that come over to our house every single day, whether it's physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech therapists. We've been able to handle all of it through solar, through building up this vision, through following, the things that Brett has, in a lot of ways, has provided for us, but ordinary people being able to do extraordinary things. It hasn't been too big of a burden on us. We've always had that part of our life taken care of through solar, and so super grateful for you, super grateful for, this opportunity to be able to do this. We talk about it a lot of times. I feel like a lot of times I hit the lottery by being able to be a part of the largest solar installer and the largest solar sales company in the nation. I feel like I hit the lottery. Why me? And the only thing I can say is, man, just showing up with gratitude and showing up with energy every single day, and then being able to look my daughter in the face and say, I got you. We're going to take care of you. Our life's changed. We don't travel as much. We don't get to go out and do things that sometimes I see other people do, but we have late nights, trying to put her to sleep or do different things. But I can always say to her, hey, I got you. You're never going to miss, any kind of therapy. You're never going to miss any kind of medication. We're going to make your life as comfortable as it possibly can be. And in turn, she puts a smile on my face. She's happy. She gives me a kiss now every single day. And it's amazing. So, but just super grateful to be able to be able to take care of my family, and for me, that's the most important thing.
Yeah. Tuberous sclerosis is no joke. You develop hundreds, if not thousands, of tiny tube-shaped tumors on all of your organs, right? And that's why the seizures, because the tumor, even though they may be benign and not cancerous, it starts squeezing and pinching on your brain or other parts of your body that make you very, very much debilitated or incapacitated. How many brain surgeries has she had?
Sloan's had 3 brain surgeries now. But you're right. So what it is these kids, it's a genetic mutation. It was sporadic because neither my wife nor myself carry the gene, but they develop tumors on all their vital organs. The ones that cause the most problems are the ones on her brain, but she has tumors on her in her eyes. She has tumors, kidneys, lungs, she has tumors all over her body, but the ones on her brain cause seizures, and they can cause learning disabilities. It's one of the, leading causes of autism, and she's autistic as well. But yeah, she's had three different brain surgeries. The first one was probably the roughest for us. They found a tumor on the left side of her brain that was kind of pressing on a part of her brain that was causing a lot of seizures. It was about the size of a small potato. And so through different, doctor's visits, we determined that it would be best to try and take that tumor out. And unfortunately, in the middle of the operation, she had a stroke. In the middle of them removing that tumor, and that left her paralyzed on the right side of her body. And so even going into that operation, she started kind of being a little delayed, but she was speaking a little bit. We could hear her say, "Mommy, Daddy." We could hear her, if we put her in timeout, she'd count to 10. There was things that I remember that she was progressing, a little delayed, but she was progressing. And then after that surgery, the stroke, damaged the ability to be able to speak, damaged the ability to be able to walk. Normally the right side of her body was paralyzed, and we've been working through that ever since, and like I said, those therapies and things like that have helped. She's now walking today. She walks everywhere. Our freaking fridge opens up 200 times a day right now because she's into everything. We looked at it, we're like, man, we skipped those ages of 2 to 3 years old where kids are into everything, and now she's 9 years old, and we're going through that. We gotta lock our doors, so she's not digging through different things and always trying to eat something or opening up the pantry or the fridge or whatever. But she is our miracle baby. She progresses every single day.
That's amazing, and thank you for sharing that. The reason I wanted you to bring that up or to tell us that is like, just like chemo, I watch you go through that whole thing. And, if people didn't know that you had a severely disabled daughter that needed 24/7 care back at home, they would have never guessed it. Talking to you, talking to Rachel, it's just like, yeah, those are awesome people, happy people. No clue what's going on back at home. And do you think that lesson you went through with chemo of like, stay positive, do you think that had an impact? I mean, it's just kind of like, that's just who you are. I've just never seen you mad or sad or like, you just smile through it.
Yeah. I mean, life, everybody has trials in life, right? Everybody does. I mean, I know that you go through trials. We all have a story. And yes, chemo. I mean, I remember when you and I were missionaries, I had a mission companion that had cystic fibrosis that I used to have to help cough up mucus every single night. And I saw that guy with a smile on his face every day. He handled it better than anybody I've ever met. It was a huge lesson for me, and whether it was the tough times growing up or whatever, fortunately I have two of the best parents. My mom she's been an unbelievable example to me that through any tough times, you just put a smile on your face. My dad taught me that. He was a basketball coach, and he taught me from a very young age. He taught me, hey, if you're not getting the ball or the game is not going the way that you want to go in basketball, the ball finds energy. If you're working hard, if you're going and getting rebounds, the ball will find you. And so for me, it was, it's always been that way. Show up with energy, show up with gratitude. Things will go your way. But also in life, I believe you have to go through the storms to know what the sunshine feels like.
Yeah.
Right? You have to go through that. If every day was just sunshine and it looked good, it wouldn't feel like anything. But the good times, because you go through those struggles, that's great. There's change in struggle. That's good. That's what we're here for. We're here to progress. We're here to get better. We're here to grow. And that happens in the struggles. And then when the sunshine does happen, man, it's so rewarding, right? Because you've seen both sides of it. But also, I have to show up for her every day. if I look like this is hurting me, you know, how's she going to feel?
Yeah.
Right? How's my wife going to feel? And the truth is, she shows up every day for me. You know, and she's the truth is I've seen her around the clock, never miss a day of medicine, never miss a day of helping our daughter out, trying to walk with her, trying to help her progress. And for me, yeah, we got to show up for each other.
Man, well, thank you for sharing that. I know it's it's just something I think the rest of the industry needs to hear. And you're right. I don't think I would appreciate living in California if I didn't grow up in that horrible weather in Utah. Right?
Hey, but when I visit California, because I live in the weather of Houston, it was the first thing I texted out. Unbelievable weather.
Best weather in the world.
Yep.
I know.
This place, man.
But people who were born and raised here don't get it. They don't appreciate it.
Man, but I do the second I walk off that plane.
Well, thank you for sharing that. You are absolutely the man. I've always looked up to you. I've always wanted to be like you, and there's a reason why. So, pinch me. I get to work with my best friends, and I don't know how that happened. I don't know how we got so lucky, but and it just feels like really does feel like we're just barely getting started, with what we do, and the people we get to work with. The impact that I think people are having on me, on us, that we're able to have on them, just incredibly grateful. And it's stories like that, it's examples like that, people need to get behind, because that's how you do it.
Yeah, the feelings are mutual. I feel like like I said, I feel like I hit the lottery. I get to work with my best friends. We have a job where we get to go out and have fun. It's energizing. We're building. We're behind this mission. But yeah, I mean, I get to work with people like you, and it is the funnest thing in the world to do. So I'm super appreciative and grateful for everything that you provided, for everything that the freedom's provided and that the pros have provided.
Awesome. Well, thank you, man. Thank you for coming in. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next episode.